everybody. So we're going to start with our recital here. So we kind of put together a joint recital. So Dr. Smith's going to play first, and he'll talk about the pieces he's going to play. I'm also going to play a little bit today. And then we're going to close it with a duet together. So one of the things that I just wanted to mention before we start all of this is one of the, I think, like most biggest surprises of my professional career has been how much I actually perform with my former teachers. So you may all be surprised someday that you have to like come back and perform with me. It'll happen, I promise. So it's a little odd being the student and then being like, hey, if you want to come play at my school, then we can play a duet together, and I promise I won't suck, right? So it's a little funny like that, but it's a huge pleasure, like I've already said, to have Dr. Smith here today to play for you. I think you'll all really pick up a lot of cool things and great ideas from him. And just a quick reminder, there's a master class this afternoon that he's going to lead as well, so you'll get to really learn some of his pedagogical techniques as well. So with that, please welcome Dr. Smith.
I'm going to take this off for a second. This first piece, it's an unaccompanied work that I found probably a decade ago or so. I didn't really know much about it. Now, when you first look at it, it's a little squirrely when you're looking at it, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what's he trying to do here? And then I realized that, well, I went and did some, I looked the guy up. This is, the name of the piece is Improvisation, #1 for trombone solo. And the name, the composer is Enrique Crespo. And he is the founder, he is from Uruguay. I was mistaken the other night when I was telling you that. But he spent all his time in Germany performing, and he wrote this piece. He actually was a founding member of the German brass. So, pretty significant player. And what the orchestral audition circuit he was on, he had to have a new piece of music, something that's, not the standard rep. And so, he really couldn't find anything he liked, so he wrote a piece, and it's this right here. And so, as you'll see here, it's the name of it's improvisation, but it's not improvised, although it will sound, a lot of it will sound improvised. It's, you know, some places sound a bit inebriated. That's the way it's supposed to. So, we up next?
I'm going to play something totally different. So I'd like to welcome Louisa to the stage. So Louisa is just finished her first year here studying collaborative piano in the master's program. And our students had a ton of fun working with her. She played for all of our juries this spring. She played for how many recitals? Like 3 or 4? A bunch. I don't know. You've done a bunch of work for us, so thank you. It's been great to have you here at UL. We're going to play an alto trombone piece. So this is an alto trombone. It is small, right? I'm going to play this tune called Maskell. It's by Donald Abbott. This work was written in the 80s. I can tell you when. 1984. At a time when the alto trombone was really coming back into, let's say, style. So for a long time, if you had an alto part and an orchestral section part, you just played on tenor trombone and say close enough. But in the 80s and the late 70s, trombonists started actually kind of studying what the alto trombone was during the 1800s, 1700s, and deciding that there were really some color characteristics and some tone characteristics that we liked about the alto trombone, and why it might be important to play that in orchestral sections. And that led to some research on solo works for the alto trombone, of which there really weren't very many. So in the 80s and the 90s, a lot of people started trying to compose for the alto trombone without really understanding what it was. And I would say, even when I was in school, there really weren't many people actually playing the alto. So it's a fairly a newer thing that has come back into prevalence. So this tune was written, and it's kind of trying to explore what the alto trombone can do with piano accompaniment. And so you'll notice that there's a couple different sections, that it really doesn't settle ever, and that it's exploring kind of different tonal characteristics of this instrument specifically. The tune is called Maskell, and this is a word that in Hebrew means to kind of reflect or to think about you and your interactions with the other people around you. So it's meant to be kind of contemplative, reflective of you and the other people around you, which I think is always a good thing to kind of think about. So we'll take this away.
sits on the shelf for a while, and this is one of those pieces. I bought it probably 2 or 3 years ago, and kind of I let it sit on the shelf and then one day, it was probably last summer during the pandemic, I was like, well, let's just pull all this stuff out and start reading it. So I kind of discovered this, or rediscovered. It's a relatively new work by Stephen Verhelst, who is if you know Ben Van Dyke, the bass trombone player from he studied with Ben Van Dyke at Rotterdam, and he does a lot of work, collaborative work with him, and is doing a lot of composing these days. So this was written in 2010, and I felt kind of silly just finding it recently, but better late than never, I suppose. So this is it's a kind of piece that you'll just kind of go away humming. Great lyric lines and easy, accessible, and just about. We're going to play this pretty quickly. It's written to play quickly, but if you backed off 20 or so clicks, it's really accessible to a lot of people. So this is Capriccio by Verhelst Stephen.
So we're going to close off the program today with a duet. So here's the deal. I don't know how many of you probably know what we've done, but Dr. Smith drove all day Thursday from Iowa to Texas, and then he drove from Texas down here yesterday. He got in about 5 o'clock, 5:30. We rehearsed this duet. He rehearsed that piece with the piano. We went to dinner. That was that. Saw him this morning. Here we are, right? So this is the way we like to do things. We like to kind of throw it together and make it happen. So
That's the way you gotta do it.
yeah, right. Because nobody's got no time. Okay, so we're gonna play this duet for you that we've never played together. It's gonna be
Except for once yesterday.
well, once
Yeah.
yesterday. Okay. So this is Trombone Institute of Technology. It's by Michael Davis. This is one of these tunes that Michael Davis and Bill Reichenbach recorded in the late '90s, like Eagles Landing. And what else did they do? I don't. They did a bunch of stuff.
Oh,
together.
there's Bonezilla, I think.
Oh, Bonezilla's out there.
That's creepy.
So I'm going to pretend to be Michael Davis. He's going to pretend to be Bill Reichenbach, and it'll totally work, right? So
Right.
Bill Reichenbach's a studio musician out in LA. He's been on like probably every movie you've actually watched in the last 20, 25 years. He also does the LA Trombone Consortium thing, whatever that is. And then Michael Davis is also another studio musician. He's actually out in New York. He actually played with the Rolling Stones forever and still does. He tours with them. And he's played with a bunch of other groups. We'll just leave it at that. So, this is our best impersonation
Right.
of very famous trombone player.